A real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, BRimes.
All right, welcome to the show. Thanks for spending some time with us here. Consumer Quarterback Show powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We got Dr. Scott Anderson in the house, in studio with us. We're going to talk about the top 5 causes of divorce, and also some other mental health concerns that are typically in the news and in the media lately. Also, Alex BlackBelt Lima in studio. Bruce Woodburn, Crosscountry Mortgage. He's the loan arranger. We're going to dive deep into that later on in the program as well. Quick shout out to our friends over at Brio Tuscan Grill, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Excellent food. Very wonderful ambiance, and you have a very friendly wait staff as well over there at Brio Tuscan Grill, longtime friend of the show, the official restaurant partner for the Tampa, the Consumer Quarterback Show. Brio Tuscan Grill, make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives. And save the date, Friday, September 27th, 6 o'clock. We're going to be having our next gratitude party. We do a business mixer every month. Normally it's the third Thursday. This time we're mixing it up, going on a Friday. Lake Tarpon Avenue, Tarpon Springs. It's going to be at the Tarpon Turtle. We're going to have a great time, food, drinks, networking, and also boat rides. We're going to have some boat rides going on at the Tarpon Turtle as well. We're going to have pontoon boats out there and cruising around. Going to be a good time. Good evening on Friday, September 27th, 6 o'clock. Join us there. We hope to see you there. And Alex, we always have a good time with the networking stuff. What else is going on, man?
Yeah, so far they've been pretty good. We haven't had the cops called on us yet, so
yeah,
we're doing something right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We got close one time, but
hey,
we're all right. So Dr. Scott Anderson coming up here in just a minute. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. Now, I always like to feature our real estate listings on air. I like to start with my favorite listing here, 221 Howard Drive. This one is $3 million listing, $1 million listing from the Platinum MVP team. This one's on Howard Drive, Bel Air Beach, 221 Howard Drive. 5 bedrooms, 3 bath, 3,500 square foot, single family residence. It has a gorgeous 3-island kitchen with Thermador appliances, saltwater pool, 100 feet of water frontage. You also have the historic Howard Drive that boasts one of the largest or the highest land elevations in the area. 1 block to the beach, 1 block to beach access as well. 221 Howard Drive, Bel Air Beach, Florida. Beautiful listing from the Platinum MVP team. Archer Place also. We've got 90 pre-construction luxury condos in Gainesville, Florida. This one's the address is Archer Place, but the physical address is 3101 Old Archer Road, unit number 209 in Gainesville, Florida. Pre-construction pricing available. You have short-term rental approved. You're 1 mile from the University of Florida. Resort-style, temperature-controlled pool, cabanas and grills, gourmet kitchens, 5 minutes from Shands Medical as well. If you are a Florida Gator fan and you have kids going to school in that area or have connections in Gainesville, this would be a great investment opportunity. 10% off retail, 3101 Old Archer Road, Gainesville, Florida. And you can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Dr. Scott Anderson back in studio. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here as always.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Welcome back in. I know you've been doing a little traveling, but back to work. Back to work, man.
I was in Central America, and wow, talk about the pura vida. It was
nice.
Good stuff, very healing. So now I'm back to get back on the front lines of the mental health crisis here and start to get to work.
Yeah, man, I like it. What do you see happening out there? What's typical?
Oh, big trend coming in. A lot of, because we're talking about statistically by 2030 they say that 50% of women are going to be childless and alone, meaning not married, not necessarily loneliness, but and that's a big issue. Divorce comes up quite often. So that's something I wanted to bring to the attention and see what we can do about shoring that up. I mean, obviously it's fundamentals, have good parents, have good children, have good society. So divorce is a big problem. It's one of the major causes of dysfunction in children. So we wanted to talk a little about the 5 most common causes of divorce and then maybe what we could do about it and kind of explain what some of the fundamentals of relationships are if we can get to all that.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, you listen to some of the old country songs too. Miranda Lambert has one that says something like, "Staying married was the only way to work your problems out."
Yeah.
You couldn't get divorced back in the 70s and 60s. I mean, some into the 80s,
and that was probably a good thing overall.
Right. Yeah, definitely better for the children. I mean,
Yeah.
think about that kid being pulled in all those different directions today, and especially now. And one of the things too, the lack of respect from other men that will gawk at a good looking woman walking with her man.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot. Well, that bodes to the point of some of the most common causes. I'll get in. I'll throw a couple up there, and then you guys tell me what you think.
Yep.
The first. These are the 5 most common that I've decided after doing a little research. Lack of intimacy and sex. That's in marriages. I hear that complaint the most. Lack of intimacy and sex. 15% of men and 27% of women say they have had no sex in the last year with their spouse.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you're in a passionless lack of intimacy relationship with the spouse, it's probably not going to last very long, and that's the number one cause or leading up to divorce.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep,
I can see that happening.
And there's root causes to that. I mean, men and women are different. So men generally look for physical attractiveness. If their wife gains weight, significant amount of weight, and doesn't take care of herself, walking around in sweats, doesn't put on makeup, doesn't do the hair, that physical intimacy is going to die out real quick, because men are more physical intimacy guys. And as well as women, the guys kind of, they check out. They do video games, they're out golfing, they've got social media stuff. They work a lot, so they check out. Yeah. And then that leads to the breakdown in the emotional intimacy, which then again leads to the physical intimacy breakdown.
Right.
So
yeah, I can see that. They find replacements. They go into other places, and then they start shopping on the outside, and that's
they get emotionally unavailable to the women, and then the women seek that emotional validation elsewhere. And we get into a whole thing on that.
What's your thought, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, a common theme and something I've always talked about. I'm very proud of my relationship. We've been together for a very long time. We have a beautiful daughter, and I can speak from firsthand that I think something that people don't understand is that marriage is not easy. Yeah, it's not easy, and a lot of people get together for the wrong reasons, and it's something that you truly need to be committed to. And biblical principles are a good way to start. They should be the foundation, but that's an argument you can have later on. But I think one of the main reasons is the disconnect, whether it's physical disconnection or emotional disconnection, and that's something that, well, guys, that doesn't just happen. That's something that you have to fight for and you have to work towards. Maybe when people first get together, there's like an instant, like it's very easy because it's exciting and it's fun and you're connected and everything is exciting and joyful. Life is not 24/7 exciting and joyful. So now when you have some years in together, there's going to be some challenges and moments that come up. And I think from personal experience, I'm just saying that in my life, I've had to fight for my connection, make sure that we keep it. And then also something that I've personally dealt with is when things are going wrong in life, do not direct that negativity and that energy towards your household. You know what I'm saying? Don't bring your problems from work home and take them out on your wife and kid. And that's something that a lot of times you have to do some self-reflection and make sure and catch yourself. And then if you have problems doing that, have good friends around you that'll call you out when you're acting crappy, right? Yep. And then go talk to guys like Dr. Scott that'll help you to put things in perspective, I believe.
Yeah. There's a biochemical, what you're referring to, that excitement, that honeymoon phase or whatever, and the release. Yeah. There's a biology to love and bonding, and it has to be protected. And like I said, the most common causes of the divorce are the lack of intimacy, infidelity, trust, finances, conflict and arguing, and the lack of equity. So those are the most common, but they're all interrelated in that it's a breakdown of intimacy. It's a breakdown of that communication and that physical intimacy, and then the trust. So really, if you think about it, despite all of those reasons for divorce, they all have an underlying commonality, a seed, if you will, that is underlying. It's the breakdown of communication. There's 3 foundations for a relationship, a healthy one, especially a marriage: communication, trust, and intimacy. There's physical intimacy and emotional intimacy. And like a lock and key, women need emotional intimacy, men need physical intimacy. And when all of those things are put together through communication, it builds trust. And then they just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you have a wonderful relationship. It's the breakdown of that communication which leads to the breakdown in intimacy, emotional intimacy, which then separates the physical intimacy, which then breaks down the trust, and then you start to spiral. And that's when people become turn into infidelity.
Yeah.
They turn to seek emotional relationships with other people. They go to social media, gaming, video games, and golfing and stuff. So
You're
they
disconnected.
emotionally check
You're disconnected.
out. Right.
You connect
they
somewhere
become
else.
emotionally unavailable.
But also, that's not instantaneous either, right?
It's not.
You got to catch it, man.
It's
You got to
not.
catch it before it gets
Yeah,
there.
and that's why we're going to go over like what can you do to strengthen that. And complacency, I'll tell you right now, is the #1 marriage killer. It's that you're right. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
When you get comfortable and you're in a groove and everything's going wonderful, it's easy to rest. It's easy to forget the things that got you there. That excitement of that chemistry is basically it's dopamine, it's serotonin. Those are the feel-good chemicals, and serotonin is what facilitates the long-term emotional well-being, that feeling that you get. Wow, this is comfortable. I really love this person. I can be normal around this person.
Yeah.
So that it's crucial for emotional stability. That's the bonding. Norepinephrine, oxytocin, vasopressin, those are the love drugs or the hormones that promote bonding and connection, that special connection with your wife, with your spouse, with your loved ones. And those are necessary for the long-term bond pairing that you have. And adrenaline is what you refer to. That brings passion and excitement. Throw in testosterone and you have that feeling of lust and passion and sexuality and physical attractiveness. Those are all necessary. And why am I talking about that? Why? Because you want to be able to continue that, because after about 6 months to a year, most of that wears off.
Yeah.
That
exactly.
oxytocin runs out, and unless you make a concerted effort to work on that and not be complacent, that's when the marriages start to fade because of the aforementioned 5 things, because the intimacy breaks down.
Or you're not getting your fix anymore.
Yeah,
You're not getting those highs anymore. And that's why
exactly.
people turn towards the video game or hanging out with their friends, because they're getting that fix somewhere else now.
Yeah, and it's the lack of equity too. You know what I mean? Is one person becomes like, I call them man-child or the trophy wife, where that person expects the other one to just do everything.
Yeah.
And because they're in this relaxed complacency state, so they become dependent and they just want the other person to just keep feeding them. But it's not, it's hard work. Marriage relationships are incredibly difficult.
Dude, for sure.
And it takes it's a full-time job.
You have this is a great book too. I'll hold it up for the screen, but it's called Marriage on the Rock, Jimmy Evans. And it says here, you have a 100% chance of succeeding in marriage, but it all depends on what you are willing to put into it,
of course,
and whom you have at the center. So, of course, he's talking about a marriage based on biblical principles, and it's called Marriage on the Rock. I'll hold it up here for the screen if anybody wants to check that out on the YouTube channel. But yeah, we've been reading that together. I think doing things like that together as a couple too will strengthen that. And then you're breeding that relationship and that knowing into your children, and your even relatives can see, hey, they've stayed together for this many years. Yeah.
One of the best things, and I'll go into some of the must-dos. These are what I call the must-dos. Make one time a week with a couple hours set aside where you can air your grievance, like a meeting, like a business meeting.
Yep.
And it has to be separate. You got to compartmentalize it from your personal relationship and just say, listen, let's sit down. Let's air out anything to do with intimacy, grievances, finances, parenting, etc. Those things that we need to talk about. Let's come to some agreement, or continue to work on them, make agreements, and then that's set. Once we have that set for the week, we're good to go.
Yep.
And then there's one every 10 days. This is where the complacency, you can squash it and put the work in. Once every 10 days at least, go out on a date, work for it.
Yep, date night.
Because those are the things that got you interested in your wife. Get her all dolled up.
Yeah.
And this shouldn't have to be. This should be pre-discussed and agreed upon.
You have to continue to court each other.
Yeah, you have to court.
That can't.
She has to compliment you and tell you look handsome, and vice versa, without you having to ask for it.
Yeah.
And then you go on a romantic evening, which is pre-agreed that there's going to be emotional intimacy or romanticism, and then physical intimacy, sex.
Yeah.
Because both partners need to be satisfied, and that will have that special pair bonding that will create that biological connection that will be long-lasting.
Let's take a quick break there. Dr. Scott Anderson in studio with us. Alex BlackBelt Lima, of course, as well. Coming up as well, Surgeon General. Parents need help. Nearly 48% of parents with children younger than 18 say they are completely overwhelmed by stress on most days. We got a story coming up there later on as well, our feel-good story of the day. Find out about this chef that was injured in an accident, and now he's got a floating seat that was invented by a friend to help him get back to work. Feel-good story of the day coming up. More with Dr. Scott Anderson, Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify, or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 727-263-3707. Online at consumerqb.com.
Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rimes, owners of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams. Buying, selling, investing in real estate, their nationwide Keller Williams network makes them the best team to work with. Sellers, have your property featured live on air, creating multiple offers. Buyers, leverage a unique system that gets your offer accepted, never overlooked. Call or text 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550, or consumerqb.com.
Lindsay Rimes here with Archer Place in Gainesville, Florida. Our luxury condo community is located only 1.5 miles from the University of Florida, 5 minutes to Shands Medical and Butler Plaza. Our buyers love the high-end luxury amenities in their building, including a state-of-the-art fitness facility equipped with Pelotons, the resort-style temperature-controlled pool accompanied with cabanas and grills, and the gourmet chef's kitchen in our clubhouse that overlooks the pool. We have pre-construction pricing only for a limited time, with floor plans ranging from a 1-bedroom, 1-bath to 2-floor penthouses with plunge pools. Starting in the low 400,000s to the high 900s, investors, parents sending their young adults off to school, medical professionals, business owners, and entrepreneurs alike are investing in these residences. Reach out to us today at 727-263-3707 to get more information.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rimes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-917-1894.
And we're back. Brandon Rimes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. We're going over the top 5 causes of divorce with Dr. Scott Anderson here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Share the Love Charities as well. Addiction Recovery Care of Tampa is Dr. Scott Anderson on the program. A couple of hot listings here before we jump back into it. We've got a property on Seagate Street. This one's 12377 Seagate Street in Spring Hill. We have 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2-car garage, 1,608 square feet. You have a screened-in pool. Beautiful property here. Nice curb appeal. Formal dining room upon entry. 15 to 20 minutes to public boat ramp. So bring your boats, and you have direct access to the Gulf from there. You also have an in-ground pool, fully fenced-in yard, and 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, 2-car garage, 1,608 square feet at Seagate Street in Spring Hill, Florida. We got some vacant land available also at 10413 Main Street, Winona-Sassa. This one is a 3.63 acre parcel of land, your zone PD. You've got commercial opportunity there as well. It's in the bustling city of Winona-Sassa, and you are a stone's throw away from Tampa and other opportunities to get out and do some shopping. There's recent or local development around in this area as well, so this could be a great investment buy as well. 10413 Main Street, Winona-Sassa. We list vacant land, commercial and residential properties, and you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
small town. See how far you make it there.
All right, quick shout out to Heights Soft Wash, pressure washing company here in Tampa Bay. Ramin is the owner, does a great job. HeightsSoftWash.com. Let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. HeightsSoftWash.com. And we're back here in studio. We're talking with Dr. Scott Anderson, top 5 causes of divorce. Let's get back to those countdown.
Yeah, absolutely. So the lack of intimacy and sex, the infidelity and trust issues, like we said, that's a breakdown in communication, what leads to a breakdown in the emotional intimacy, then the physical intimacy. People stop having sex, kissing, hugging, etc. And then that leads to the mistrust and then infidelity. Finances. This is another big one. I get asked the question all the time, what do you think would be the best way to deal with finances in a marriage? And I say have 3 accounts. One for your individual and personal, and your spouse's individual and personal, to do with whatever you want with, reasonably. And then they have the us account. That's for the family, the kids, everybody, and then that has to be mutually agreed upon how things are going to be spent. That way, if there's issues, you can do your own thing, they can do their own thing. There's still independence and their own autonomy, but then you have the us fund. So I think that's obviously the best way to go.
Yep. People can pay the mortgage out of there.
Sure. It's not ideal for everybody, but in general, that would probably be most
I can see competition
conducive.
Arising, though.
Of course.
Like, well, you put this money in there, and I put money in there.
Equal amount proportionally.
Yeah.
Equal amount proportionally. If he makes $100,000, she makes $50,000, great. Then you put 10% of whatever it is goes into the kitty, period.
Yeah. Sure.
And then that way it's equally distributed. The other big one is the lack of equity. Like I was saying before, the man-child or the arrested adolescent syndrome, where the guy wants a mom to just feed him, do this, take laundry, all that stuff. Listen, if in traditional values, if that person agrees to that, great. But this has to be agreed upon. It has to be talked about. And that's why I say having that one time a week to discuss, well, what's the minimum requirements? What can we accept and work together on that? And same with women. They have this, the queen phase now, the queens and the trophy wives. It used to be the trophy wives. I guess now they're queens, where they just want the lifestyle of the rich and famous. And that's not realistic. Neither are realistic. Okay. An arrested adolescent that wants a mommy, that's not realistic for a healthy relationship. So those have to be discussed and come to an agreement with. And then finally, you've got really, I would say the conflict in arguing. And this one is in my purview as well with addiction. Believe it or not, most of arguing and conflict that happens in marriages are because of substance abuse, overindulgence with alcohol or drugs, and then that leads to financial immaturity or making bad decisions, and then that leads to arguments about mistrust, infidelity, all kinds of issues.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it's based on the economy. This article talked about, it says, as parents today spend many more hours working as primary caregivers than they did in the past. Employers, governments, societies have a duty to support them. So you look at that, and 48% of parents with younger children say they're completely overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
1 minute, back to you, Scott.
Yeah. Parents are overwhelmed because of the finances and having to take on multiple different roles in order to just survive. It's already stressful raising kids, but to be overwhelmed financially while you're doing it is twice the load. So again, that's where these sitting down, talking, getting support, communication is key, and organization is key, and creating a financial responsibility is key as well.
You can find them online, sharethelovecharities.org. That's the golf tournament coming up on the 17th, Sunday, November 17th, Plantation Palms. Sharethelovecharities.org. And what's your other site?
It's Addiction Recovery Care of Tampa. That's the clinic where we facilitate education, treatment, all kinds of stuff.
Awesome. Good stuff. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it, Doc.
Love being here. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, taking a quick break. Coming back, we're going to talk, Alex and I are going to talk about real estate, a little bit about the economy, what's happening as well. Later on, we've got Bruce Woodburn, Crosscountry Mortgage, the loan arranger, on the program as well. Find us online at BrandonRimes1 at CQB Show. Please subscribe to the channels as well, Rumble and YouTube channels. And we'll be right back here. More on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show.
All right, Brandon Rimes here in studio with Alex BlackBelt Lima. We're in studio going to be talking about a little bit about real estate here coming up, and also teaching a class. We got a class coming up, Win with Sellers. I'm teaching that class. Any realtors out there, anybody that wants to learn how to win with sellers, come on out and join us on 9/11 at the Pinellas Realtor Organization. We got a Win with Sellers class going on. This is going to be a lot of fun. I love teaching these classes. You can attend in person or live via Zoom, and learn the advantages to play an entrepreneurial role rather than just being employed. So it's kind of that employer versus the employee mindset when it comes to getting listings. We're going to teach you how to get listings, win listings, and the 7-step seller service cycle. So we'll talk more about that coming up here in just a moment. Before we do, a couple of hot listings here. We always like to feature our real estate properties on air, and our strategy helps us sell faster for more money, maximizing the exposure on the sale of our real estate listings. We've got a property at 3615 C. Robin Drive Southeast. This one's in St. Petersburg, C. Robin in St. Pete. It's Pinellas County. You have a completely renovated property here, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, almost 1,500 square feet, single-family home. You have the stainless steel appliances in the kitchen, breakfast bar, tiled backsplash. The lighter colors are definitely in. People love these lighter color schemes. Great floor plan, 3615 C. Robin Drive Southeast in St. Petersburg. All right, we've got a property at 2790 Pinellas Point Drive South. This one's also in St. Pete, close to the bridge there, close to the Skyway Bridge, close to the beaches, and still close proximity to downtown, 2790 Pinellas Point Drive South. 3 bedrooms, 3-bath, 2236 square feet. And you have a open floor plan, a large kitchen, fireplace, gazebo, solar panels on the roof. Great opportunity to own real estate here in Tampa Bay, 2790 Pinellas Point Drive South, St. Petersburg, Florida. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, quick shout out to Lee's Royal Services as well. He does a great job cleaning our real estate properties. Lee'sRoyalServices.com, Lee'sRoyalServices.com. Check them out online, Lee'sRoyalServices.com. Home and office cleaning, also handyman service. All right, Alex BlackBelt Lima in studio with me. Alex, I've been wanting to do a little bit of a real estate segment coming up here, and we'll dive a little bit into some of the self-defense and training like you do as well, and talk about that. But I wanted to dive in and do a little talk about real estate. And, you know, just recently featured in Florida Realtor Magazine. We haven't even talked about it much on the show, but it was kind of a cool deal, man. We got featured in Florida Realtor Magazine. It was really cool. It was basically an 11 years on air, and I talked to that editor, and she asked a lot of good questions. It was a good interview. I love, you know, the opportunity to be interviewed and have that material out. But yeah, it talks about our guest lineup, the consumer advocacy approach behind the show, and then, you know, some of the cross promotions that we do there as well. So kind of a testament to the show's success over the years, man.
Yeah, I think there's not a single person that fully understands how much goes into making this show, from the radio side to the video side to getting the guests lined up to the, you know, making sure that we talk about the properties and things going in the Bay Area. Like, a lot of work goes into this, you know, and it pays its fruit. You know, you have to nourish the tree for in order for it to, you know, give what it's going to give, the giving tree, right?
Yeah.
And this is your so this I know they've mentioned you before in this one, but you did a bigger spread like this before too. So this is your second time being like super featured, right? And
yeah,
so,
well, multiple times over the years. Yeah, multiple times. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's great to have that out. And it's also a testament to our team. It's not just, like you said, everything that goes into the radio show, everything that goes on to the real estate business, all of our team, from our operations manager, Sharon Scoley, to, of course, my wife, Lindsay, to our, you know, all of our producers on the show. And there's just so much that goes into it. But I love the consumer advocacy approach that has really stood true with all of our different experts. You know, we've seen people save a lot of time, money, avoid scams just by being in relationship to the show.
That, and I also think, you know, another thing too is the positive outlook. Instead of just when you turn on let's say you turn on commercial radio, the usual radio stuff.
Yep.
It's just kind of music, the same songs over and over again, whether you like them or not. They're telling you what's popular, right?
Yep.
Then you listen to other certain talk shows and stuff like that, and it's like it's cool that you're hearing all this stuff when you listen to Joe Rogan and it's things on this massive scale. But what about in the Bay Area, like where you live, your immediate area? What businesses, what things are going on that are prevalent where you are at? You know, and I just think that's huge. I think that's huge.
Yeah, exactly. And there's not many doing similar to what we do.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so cool about it is. And saving people time and money. So let's just look at some of the different examples. Like we had Attorney Coble, talking about how he was able to get almost $1 million or right at $1 million for someone when the other attorney had them wanting to settle for like $70,000 or $80,000.
Yeah, and once again, that's here. That's a story here. That's not, hey man, did you hear in Louisiana this lawyer got this guy? They only wanted to give him a couple grand and he got him $1 million. No, this is right here. This is guys that we know and we connect you with.
That's right. Yep. And Anthony Rickman, on the criminal defense, I'm sure he's saving people, in not only money but also their lives in a lot of cases, with the attorneys. So we've got great attorneys. Frank Miranda, the law firm, he's a litigator. He'll go out there and do what's necessary in law. I like the idea of the property fraud alerts because there's so much fraud in the real estate space. You see these signs all over the roadways, right? These "We buy houses cash." You've seen those signs out there?
Well, I think there's a lot of fraud going on everywhere right now. But yes, it's especially in the real estate space, I can imagine because it's honestly the ability to scam people has never been more accessible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You used to have to be a really connected, wannabe up and coming gangster and mobster to make crime happen.
Yep.
Now you just need you don't even need a computer, bro. You can go borrow the computer from the library and try to scam people. You really could. You really could with enough effort.
Yeah. So the We Buy Houses Cash, to stay on that topic for a second, what happens is so they'll put these signs out or they'll run advertisements or somehow they'll get the lead, and then ultimately what these people do, and it's these. And a lot of the, sometimes it's even agents saying, hey, we'll sell your house or we'll buy it cash. Like you've seen that gimmick out there too. Yeah, first of all, they're going to buy it like at a super low price at a value that you wouldn't want to sell it at. So the valuation's wrong. But these We Buy Houses Cash people and a lot of these hedge funds, they'll come in and they'll put a property under contract with no intention to actually buy it themselves. All they're doing is checking the assignable box and then they're reselling that paper. They're basically flipping the contract to a end buyer, somebody that will actually close on the property. So there's so many scams related to that as well, Alex.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, they just go and find somebody that they know that they're going to profit off of. So, and at the end of the day, that was the profit you could have made.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the big takeaway there.
So why do they do it? Right?
Because people they're ignorance, and again, I've said it before. Ignorance is not a bad word. It just means you don't fully understand a topic or a subject. So when you don't fully understand real estate, or you don't understand self-defense or fitness, or you don't understand money management, you are more prone to be making a bad call when you're put in like a pressure situation where you need to make a decision on the fly.
Yep. And convenience too is a big one.
It's a convenience.
They just want to get it done. They don't want people. They don't want to have to open their house up.
They're
or whatever.
overwhelmed. They don't want to deal.
But
with
is that worth 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand? You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
For a lot of people, I don't either. But they'll fall for these gimmicks of these hedge funds, these cash buyers. By the way, we have people that will buy cash. They will close on your deal. We've got business partners that will do that. So if you're, thinking, hey, that might be me, that you're describing me, I want to sell faster or, sell faster, and I'm willing to take a discount just because I have to. There's a death, divorce, bankruptcy, out-of-state owner. There's a tax deed sale. There's all these different scenarios that happen, death in the family. All of these things happen. That's where sometimes they will do that. But reach out to the hotline. We'd love to talk to you. If you have any questions, or if you're thinking, you're contemplating selling, or maybe you have a friend that's going through a troubling time, there's chances are that we can help you. We can put you in touch with somebody that can be that resource for you. 727-263-3707. Call or text the hotline. 727-263-3707. Text the hotline. And one last thing on real estate, then I wanted to get some of your training offerings. When we look at real estate right now, there is there's a softer market than we've seen in the resales. Just traditional home, existing home. Let's sell the home. We're gonna buy a new home. We're gonna sell our home. When you look at new construction, what happens is now you're opening up another area of properties, another section of properties essentially to look at. but also as realtors out there, because I know there's a lot of realtors that listen to our show. Lindsay is the regional director now for new homes. So it's new homes powered by Legacy International. So essentially it's a broker agnostic firm. It's a new homes division that essentially will allow you as a realtor learn how to and help you, assist you with forging relationships with builders and developers. And that's huge. That's very, very, a big deal for people that really know how to do that and want to learn more and be involved in new construction.
So people that want to learn more about that, is that something you touch on when you do the win with sellers thing, or how does that usually work?
Yeah, we get a little bit into that. Yep. And what I love about this opportunity is that people can learn about new construction. And so think about it this way. I do a lot of the expired leads, canceled leads, FSBO calls. I'll reach out. I'm still, very active.
Yeah, for years. You've done that for years.
Been doing it.
Yeah.
Instead of calling one seller, trying to get one listing at a time, what you're able to do now is you're able to call builders and developers and get 300 listings at one time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the strategy there. But we'd love to talk to any agents out there about that. And then, Alex, I wanted to get some of your training in as well before we go to break here.
Yeah, man. So, there's always stuff going on. This journey doesn't stop for me. The thing that I do, it doesn't have seasons. So it's not like when you sign your kid up for, baseball's another one that they got you traveling all the time. But basketball, football, wrestling, those happen during, certain times of the year. Mixed martial arts and fitness, that's 24/7, 365. It's all the time. So, and what's also cool about it too is people that do play other sports. Let's say you take I've said before in the past, I've trained it was a college and high school softball players, volleyball players, soccer players during their off season. I even worked with some NFL guys. We haven't gotten too much about that, but there's a couple guys I've worked with them before. They want to learn the hand fighting, how to get through the defensive line and stuff like that and everything.
That's a big part of it.
The point is that everything that I do crosses over to make you a better athlete in other things that you want to be great at.
Yeah.
And you will get the upper hand and advantage.
Absolutely. I've trained with Alex, highly recommend him. Just like a lot of our expert contributors, I can tell you from firsthand experience, first-class organization, first-class training. Reach out, Alex, BlackBelt, Lima. You can find him online. How do you want people to connect with you, Alex?
Yeah, it's just you can on Instagram would be at @BlackBelt_fitness. You can always look me up, Alex Lima, Black Belt Fitness and Martial Arts Club. And I'm doing a lot of work with American Top Team, Carlson Gracie Tampa, and all that stuff. So I'm around.
Some big names there. Some big names.
The biggest, to be honest with you, man. I don't always come off like trying to flex on people, but the Carlson Gracie lineage and American Top Team, that was started by Ricardo Laborio, and then it goes back. A fun fact about me, my lineage alone, right? So being in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu where I am, from myself to my instructor to his instructor, when you trace it back, within 7 steps, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever, within 7 steps, I am connected to Jigoro Kano, which is the founder of Judo. So you got Jigoro Kano, and then his student, Matsuyu Maeda, which is Count Akuma, and then he trained Carlos Gracie. Carlos Gracie trained Carlson Gracie. Carlson Gracie trained Hinaldo Santos. Hinaldo Santos trained my professor, Rafael Garcia, and then you have me. So within 7 steps, I'm at the root of when this art was invented and created.
Sweet. I love it.
That's crazy, right?
Get involved. Even if it's not for self-defense, it's just health and fitness. Get involved. Reach out to the show, consumerqb.com. You can find all of our expert contributors as well as all of Alex's info at consumerqb.com. Taking a quick break. Coming back, Bruce Woodburn, Crosscountry Mortgage on the Consumer Quarterback Show, online at consumerqb.com.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rimes.
All right, Brandon Rimes coming up. Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage, the Lone Ranger, coming up on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got to tell you something good first.
Tell me something good.
All right, chef returns to kitchen thanks to a floating seat invented after a motorcycle injury made him immobile. A severe motorcycle injury left Austrian chef Peter Lemire unable to use his legs. His career seemed over. However, thanks to an innovative invention by his friend Bernard, he's back in the kitchen. The invention's called Standing Ovation, a C-shaped metal hook attached to a ceiling rail system that allows Lemire to glide through the kitchen while seated. This device transfers his torso weight, keeping his hands free for cooking task. Despite being 80% disabled, Lemire can now work efficiently in his restaurant, defying the odds and returning to his passion for cooking. All right, there you have it, our feel-good story of the day. Without further ado, Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage, Consumer Quarterback Show. Welcome back, sir.
All right, the Lone Ranger's right here, buddy. How you doing?
Yeah, man. Blessed and highly favored, my friend. What's your analysis on the market?
Well, I can tell you before we get to the market, I want to tell you that story about that chef is amazing. And you know what? It puts things in perspective. That as challenging as life can be, we don't have the challenges that these folks do.
Right.
So when you put it all in perspective, you know, life is beautiful. Life is great. We have challenges every day that we all have to deal with, every single one of us. Nobody has, you know, a perfect life. But when you look at somebody like that, it's just incredible for what they do. I was, you know, taking a pickleball lesson, and there's a guy out there that has 2 half arms and 1 half leg.
Wow.
And he was out there killing everybody on the pickleball court. So I'm telling you, you just have to work with what the Lord has given you, and you do the very best you can.
Amen, brother. That's right.
Yeah, market's doing good, man. I mean, we're seeing rates are still down. They're down. You know, you can get your average rates running around 6.25%, 6.3% right now. But I locked some FHA and VA clients in the high 4s. Now, we did have the seller paying some closing costs, but with a little bit of a buy down, this is going to prevent people from even having to refinance in the future. So rates are attractive. People are pouring in. But the thing is right now, you notice that we have an abundance of inventory out there right now. We've got more inventory on the market than we've had in 15 years. And that's good for buyers. So if you are looking at buying a property right now, now's a good time because you truly can negotiate because there's a lot of opportunity out there and there's a lot of product to choose from. So I'm encouraging people to get out there. Don't wait for interest rates to drop. And we can talk about what's going on with the Fed, how that affects interest rates if you like to. We can always dive into that.
No, that's okay. We did that last time. But I just think in general, the general advice would be, you know, engage, get involved. Right now you have opportunities where sellers are on the market for longer than normal. And you have normal compared to what was, you know, a couple years ago. But yeah, when you look at that, Bruce, I think the tips are right on. It's like get involved, get the pre-approval in place, understand the down payment assistance programs in some cases, and take action.
Absolutely. No question about it. Well, right now we've got approximately 55 days on the market. That went up by 1 day. Now, 55 days seems like a lot when we come out of COVID, when you had a house on the market for 3 minutes, right? So, yes, 55 days seems like a lot. It's really not horrible at 55 days. You and I like closer to 40 days. That's really healthy right there. But 55 days is an opportunity for a buyer. So if buyers are looking for opportunities, now is it. But you also saw the Case-Shiller reports came out and that housing prices have continued to rise again. Yeah. So the longer you wait, the higher the prices get. There is no crash in sight. There's not going to be a crash in sight. We can't think that housing prices are going to drop and you are saying inflation on the other side. Okay? If you say the word inflation, you're not going to have home prices drop. That means things are more expensive. So I think that we are in this thing for the long haul. I think interest rates are going to continue to drop a little bit, but they're not going to go down when the Fed drops the Fed rate. It's already baked into it now.
Baked into the cake. That's right. Yep.
Yes, it is.
It's based on, you know, expectations and what people see. Interesting conversation here. We're talking with Bruce Woodburn, Crosscountry Mortgage. He's the loan arranger. Does a lot of volume. He's one of the most respected mortgage guys in the state. He's been doing it a long time and doing a lot of business. Bruce, what else is topical right now? You've got, of course, all the different loan types.
I'll tell you what's really kind of becoming more and more problematic, and I want people to hear me on this. If more and more, I'm finding people that are in a very, very difficult situation because they've been dealing with inflation. Everything's costing more money. There's not as much money at the end of the day. The government's telling us the economy's great, but people aren't feeling that. So they've charged a lot of things on their credit card. If you have accumulated debt and you own a home and you have equity in the home, do not wait for you to make a late payment on anything. I don't care if it's a $1 late payment. It's a late payment, and it'll affect your ability to actually go in there and fix the situation. So if you're drowning in debt or you'd like to be able to get that under control, let's look at opportunities for us to consolidate some debt and get you back on track again. Listen, debt is the enemy of wealth. You can't have wealth and debt at the same time. So let's eliminate it, consolidate it, make it so it's easier for you to control.
I like that. Bruce Woodburn, Crosscountry Mortgage. Get the pre-approval. Get with us. Get with the Platinum MVP team. We'll take you out. We'll show you some properties. Yes, you probably have to sign a exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. There's some changes in the NAR rules and things of that nature. But now is the time. We're coming into season. And final 30 seconds. Back to you, Bruce.
Yeah, if you'd like, you want to get pre-qualified, you have questions. If you're a real estate agent, a builder, let me know. I've got everything from construction perm, renovation loans, new home. I've got first-time home buyer, VA, FHA, reverse mortgages, you name it, I've got it. 813-213-4009, 813-213-4009, or WeBringYouHome.com. You are the man. I appreciate you very much. If you need to buy real estate, sell real estate, Brandon Rhymes and the Platinum MVP.
Yes, sir.
Team
Yes,
are
sir.
ready to go.
All right, Bruce. Appreciate it, man. Cross-Country Mortgage. Check them out online. And another great show. We had Dr. Scott Anderson on, Alex BlackBelt Lima, of course. And we want you to please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Do something kind for one another. Be a force for good in the community. And thank you so much for supporting the Consumer Quarterback Show in all of our 80 different categories, all of our consumer advocates. Go out there, and we hope you have a blessed day.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.